Humans of the cardboard, welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. News time yet again. Konami is just blasting out a ton of Infinite Forbidden reveals this week. Now we follow up with 7 brand new cards for Gimmick Puppet. That is a huge wave for a core set. Usually you don't see waves of support bigger than like 7 cards or larger unless it's like the cover card support, or it ends up being something like either a TCG exclusive or like a brand new archetype that's getting their whole first wave. That's like usually the only way. But there's a lot. Not gonna lie, not stoked about this. I'm not a huge Gimmick Puppet guy. Pretty creepy archetype aesthetically. It's never really seemed too good. In fact, when I looked up and down their archetype, I struggled to find how they make any interruptions whatsoever, and maybe that means they're a going second OTK deck, but in that regard, I didn't think that their tools were that impressive to do that either. I like their Link 2 a lot. Some of their Exceeds are okay, but they're definitely like geared towards going second. And they largely don't have great engine cards overall. So we'll see. Hopefully these cards can kind of turn it around for them. At least make them interesting, a cool rogue deck. But anyway, let's get into it. First part, we have Gimmick Puppet Little Soldiers. I actually like the art on this card. These guys are creepy, but they're not like the other creepy puppets from this archetype. These ones are a little more palatable. It's a level 4 Dark Machine, 0/0 for the stats. You can only use the first effect once per turn. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can send a Gimmick Puppet monster with a different level from your deck to the graveyard. Then this card's level becomes the sent monsters. Okay, so it does get you a foolish, and then I'm assuming you're sending an 8, which then allows this card to become an 8 itself, which is pretty good because the best monsters in the archetype are definitely the rank 8s. Okay, second effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard, target up to 2 Gimmick Puppet monsters you control, increase their levels by 4 until the end of this turn. Okay, so I guess the goal would be target 2 4s, make them 8s. But if you're targeting 2 8s to make them 12s, I don't know if this deck does 12s. I don't think it does, if I'm remembering correctly. I don't even know if there's that many good like actual rank 12s in the game. Weird. Okay, cool. Seems like a decent card though, honestly. You know what I mean? Armageddon Knight that changes level to the level desired, and then is able to modulate some stuff later on. I don't know. Seems like a decent card. All right, second card here. We have Gimmick Puppet Bloody Doll. Okay, cool. Level 8 Dark Machine, of course. 400 attack, 1400 defense, 2 hard once per turns on this one's effects. Get out of here. All right. You cannot special summon from the extra deck the turn you activate either of this card's effects, except for Gimmick Puppets. So hopefully there's some good stuff here, because like I said, not too impressed with like the pure nature of what Gimmick Puppets have to offer. But if this is locking you so harshly, hopefully it's pretty insane. If this card is in your hand, reveal a Gimmick Puppet XYZ monster in your extra deck. Special summon both one Gimmick Puppet monster from your deck with a level equal to the revealed monster's rank and this card? Shoo! Dang. Now, I mean, that restriction is brutal, but that is a pretty powerful, that is a pretty insane effect all in one. This card just basically says, like, plop 2 8s on the field. Now, you're locking into Gimmick Puppets not just for the rest of the turn, but for the entire turn, which is brutal. But we'll see about how some of these new Exceeds go, because I believe there are 2 or 3 Exceeds here we can look at. If this card is sent to the graveyard except from the hand, you can add it to your hand? Whoo! That means foolishing it. So if you send it off the first guy, this guy becomes a level 8, and then you can activate her, summoning her in another one from deck, maybe one of the ones that reborns themselves from grave, and then you already have materials for one of the rank 8s. If you can detach, get the other one, the extender engraved, bring that back, potentially 2 rank 8s off of this card. I'm not sure if if those work exactly how I'm saying it does, but that seems both these first 2 cards now seem pretty strong, all things considered. All right, next up here, Gimmick Puppet Cattle Scream. This one's a little more terrifying, like we know and have come to expect from the Gimmick Puppet archetype. Level 8 Dark Machine, 2000 attack, 200 defense, a little bit higher attack. Usually they have way worse attack. First effect is a hard once per turn. You can detach one material from your monster to special summon this card from your hand or grave, but banish it at the field. There you go. This is the level 8 that you summon from deck off of Bloody Doll, you use this to make a rank 8 that detaches, and then you do something to detach, and then you immediately summon this one back, and if you started with Little Soldiers, he should already be an 8, in which case you can immediately make a second rank 8. Okay. All right, second effect. If also you're making exceeds with this, which is pretty cool. So the cool thing there is that you can, once you use it as material, ends up back engraved, in which case it's a pretty basic extender, grindy card later on. It's kind of cool. A Gimmick Puppet XYZ monster that has this card as material gains this effect. Once per turn, you can target one monster in your opponent's graveyard, special summon it to their field in defense position. Okay, maybe one of these new exceeds has something specific to do with that. That's interesting, though. All right, here we go. These exceeds mean everything, right? These engine cards mean absolutely diddly unless this actually gets us there. We'll see. All right, this is Gimmick Puppet Fantasix Machina. I actually like the design on this guy. He's actually pretty cool. Yeah, okay. 1500 attack, 3100 defense, level 8 dark exceed. 2 level 8s. It is generic. You can only use the first and second effects of this card once per turn. You can attach one material from this card to add one rank up magic spell from your deck to your hand. Also, during your main phase this turn, you can normal summon one machine in addition to your normal summoner set. Okay. Wow. Okay, not bad. I mean, for a generic rank 8, I mean, this is already giving me a little bit of vibes of, is it possible we see not Bestials. What am I thinking of? The guys, freaking Horus. Jeez. Is it possible we see Horus as an engine in here? This card only locks you from the extra deck, not the main deck at all. So we could potentially just play the Horus engine to be able to just make this card for free. It doesn't search you. It doesn't fully turn on the engine, but it does get you a rank up magic spell, which I'm assuming there's got to be something that at least turns this guy into a pretty damn good exceed. We'll see. As well as an additional normal summon for a machine. There could be something there. If you special summon a Gimmick Puppet XYZ, you can special summon this card from your graveyard to either field in defense position. Then you can add one rank up magic spell from your graveyard to your hand. Interesting. I'm wondering if there is... No, I guess that wouldn't work necessarily. You'd have to already have this engraved. I guess maybe if you rank up with this, using the first rank up you get off the first effect, detach this as material at some point, and then later, maybe in the turn, make another rank 8, and then this card summons itself, gets you back the rank up magic spell, and if it's not once per turn, do it again. Maybe there's something there. All right, last exceed. This is the second exceed. This is CXYZ Gimmick Puppet Fanatix Machina. Again, cooler designs. Honestly, I like these cards. Are aesthetic design more so than the general gist of Gimmick Puppets, which is cool. Level 9 Dark Machine, 3115, complete opposite stats of the other one, better attack this time. Takes 3 level 9 monsters. Maybe we rank up into this? Yeah, this is a rank 9. So we're probably ranking up with whatever rank up we're searching. I don't know the rank ups off the top of my head, how they work. But that makes sense. First, second, and third effects, hard once per turn. If this card is special summoned, you can add a Puppet Trap from your deck to your hand. I think I only saw one Puppet Trap before, and I wasn't too impressed with it. So I think there's one here. Hopefully that one actually is pretty powerful, because if you can get it pretty easily, then that's pretty nice. Second effect, you can attach one material from this card to special summon a monster from either graveyard to your opponent's field in defense position. Again, weird. Keep summoning to our opponent's field. Maybe this trap card will give us some payoff at the end on why we're summoning to our opponent's field. If a monster or monsters is special summoned to your opponent's field, you can target one of them, destroy it, and if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to half its original attack. Okay, so you just summon it, pop it, give it to your opponent, and move on from there as well. So you can do that on your turn, and then on your opponent's turn, that's just also live to be basically a Dryden-esque effect as well. I'm getting a handful of burn damage in there. Okay, not bad. I mean, listen, this is a card that, if you rank up into this, it's a walking interruption on its own. That's an okay interruption. It's basically the same interruption that Promethean Princess has. So, opponent special summons, pop it, go from there, right? But also search either trap. If the trap's a good interruption, then this card's double interruption. Just getting to this gives you pretty good payoff. All right, field spell. I bet we can all guess what this card's going to do, but here we go. Mansion of the Underworld Dolls. Cool. Field spell, you can only activate one per turn. When this card resolves, add a Gimmick Puppet monster from your deck to the hand. That's cool. That's actually really nice because for this engine, basically, I don't think many of the old cards are that good. So I was like, this guy is good, but he's a 3 of. This card's good, probably a 3 of. Yeah. Is that it? Is our engine just 6 cards and everything else in the deck is a brick? But this card gives us 4 more copies of engine cards, so a little bit of consistency is already nice. Second effect, Gimmick Puppets. Gimmick Puppet monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle. Also, they are unaffected by your opponent's activated non-XYZ monster effects. Dang! That's kind of nasty. That's some pretty nasty protection. You're just immune from all non-XYZ monster effects. That means if you that means going second, and maybe this card maybe almost justifies building this deck to go second, is you activate this and your opponent's just like, I don't have a negate. Okay. So this is then 1 card combo. I'm assuming there's some kind of OTK just off of this card. And if they don't have something to interact with this specifically, they're not going to be able to touch your Gimmick Puppets with monster effects, which is pretty insane. That's really strong. Third effect. Once per turn, you can detach one XYZ monster from one material from an XYZ monster, then target a Gimmick Puppet monster in your graveyard. Special summon it to your opponent's field in defense position. All this summoning to your opponent's field. Okay, sure. Yeah, but the first and second effects both. Mwah, that's a good field spell. And lastly, we have Serviced Puppet. Let's see if this card's good. You can only use the first and second effects once per turn. Target monsters your opponent controls up to the number of Gimmick Puppet XYZ monsters you control. Take control of them till the end of the turn. There we go. So, not only is that a really powerful interruption, but if you're able to hold off on this and resolve this on your opponent's turn, you're probably just OTKing because you're already probably summoning a big Gimmick Puppet if you already control an Exceed, and then you're just taking multiple monsters, whatever the biggest ones are, switch to attack position, and wham. Would be my guess. But still a decent interruption for sure for what it is. And if you control a Gimmick Puppet Exceed monster, except the turn this card is sent to the graveyard, banish this card from grave, target one XYZ monster in either graveyard, special summon it to either field in defense position. So we've been seeing this more and more, just the power creep overall for trap cards. When an archetype gets a trap card, or even generic trap cards, Konami's like, you know what? Not good enough to have one effect. You need to have something else you can do. So at least in the grind game, this is fine. This is probably a mandatory card in the deck because it really seems like if you're not ranking up into this guy, I don't know exactly what you could be doing, because you're locking yourself out of anything that's not Gimmick Puppet, so you probably have to go into this guy, which means you have to play the trap. But hey, it's a decent interruption, so you're getting like at least a steal one plus a pop one. Not terrible. Off of 1 card combo, and I think there's probably even more you can end on as well. So pretty nice, honestly, all things considered. Very cool. I mean, honestly, I think all things considered, I think this is pretty solid support. Again, I wasn't too impressed. Honestly, I saw, before these got translated, I saw that they were Gimmick Puppet stuff, and I was like, ooh, don't know much about Gimmick Puppet. Let's read up on some of the cards that already exist. The Link 2 is pretty insane. The Link 2, to me, reminds me of Bloom Harmonist from Melodious, a deck that I've been putting more time into as of recently to get prepared for when the new support drops. It's one of those cards where it's not a card that you always have to go into, but it is that card where if it resolves, it's full combo and then some. So in Melodious, I say Bloom Harmonist when I'm testing as late as possible. Bait as many interruptions as possible, stick to Melodious monsters, and go full combo. When they don't have any more hand traps, any more interruptions, resolve Bloom, and you've got full combo. That's kind of how I look at this card, this archetype's their Link monster. It's pretty powerful. I'm curious to see where this goes. I mean, you have some brutal locks, so it's going to be a pretty pure deck. The question is, are the tools good enough? And it seems like there's might be enough tools going second, to make it overall worth just to play a hard going second list, maybe you play the Horus package in there as well. That's a pretty good package going second because it baits interruptions really well. And if it doesn't, then it means you're probably sticking multiple big level 8 bodies and then you are just running your opponent over or just getting into your Gimmick Puppet engine. Just cool either way. Yeah, pretty cool. Again, I'm no fanatic of Gimmick Puppet, so please let me know in the comment section down below. If you've messed around with this deck for a while, let me know your interpretation of these cards. Are they all the way there? Are they lacking some stuff? As someone who isn't too privy to the deck, is there any specific synergy that I didn't catch from the new cards that have to do with some of the old cards? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that below. But I'm out of here for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. The news has been really, really banging the last couple days. Not my favorite archetype of all time, but it does potentially make a new deck rogue that wasn't before, and I'm always game for that. So I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.